Hey guys, welcome back to the Rob Pop YouTube channel, your #1 pit stop for all things Eurovision this year, and it's time that we get our qualifier prediction hats on for the second time as we turn our attention to who I think is going to make it through to the final from semi-final 2. That was a mouthful. Yes, that's right, I've already done this video for semi-final 1, but in this video today, I'm going to be predicting the 10 qualifiers that I think are going to make it from the second semi-final of Eurovision 2024. The time is running out. I've been doing my research, I've been doing my predictions. I'm no Mystic Meg, but hey, I'm here today to give you my thought. If you haven't already checked out my video predicting the qualifiers for the first semi-final, you can click up here. As I mentioned in that first video, I have quite a good track record with this. I think I had 19 correct out of 20 last year, 18 out of 20 the year before. So, as I say, I'm no psychic, but I think I'm decent at it. Just so that you're aware of the format of this video, just in case you haven't checked out the previous one, what I'm going to be doing is predicting my 10 qualifiers, but breaking them up into songs that I'm certain of, then songs that I'm not quite as certain of. Then we'll discuss the non-qualifiers, starting with the ones that I think could potentially make it and are just on the borderline of missing it, and then finishing with the songs that I think are less likely. So that's how this video is going to go. But before we do begin, as ever, it would be amazing to remind you if you could subscribe to this channel. We're moving ever closer to Malmo, and I've got so much content still ready to come for you. And I do think I'll do a little bit of a vlog in Malmo. I'll be there all week, and I'm going to both semi-finals for the jury show, so it'll be fun to provide you with a little bit of content from that. So if you want to join me for a camp or gale time, there's nothing but fun going on here on this channel, so come and join me along for the ride. And a cup of tea if you fancy. This is no relaxing business, I get very stressed doing this, but I'm getting ready now. It's time to predict the 10 songs that I think are going to qualify from semi-final 2. So yes, I am going to start with the songs that I think are certain qualifiers, and I have 7 songs that I'm pretty almost definitely sure are going to make it. And there's no better song to start with than my favourite song of this whole year, and that is Switzerland. That's Nemo, The Code. If you followed this channel at all throughout Eurovision season, you will know how much I've raved about this song. It is my favourite. I do have a Swiss flag on order. I will be flying it in Malmo, but hey, it's not going to qualify because of my opinion. It's going to qualify because it's absolute quality. This is a contender to win, so we don't really need to be discussing why it's going to make it through to the final. Will it win the televote? There are still doubts about whether this is going to connect with the televote. I think the jury is more certain than the televote, but we don't need to doubt whether it's going to be top 10 because we know that Nemo is going to absolutely bring it on that stage. The vocals, the styling, and stage presence is off the charts. This is just not in doubt. And another song that I don't think has even a grain of doubt in my mind is Netherlands' Uzklijn Europapa, closing the show with the zaniest of fashions. I still do think this probably will win the televote. I think it will edge Switzerland out. So, I mean, that's really the discussion we're having here. There's no doubt about it, Daddy is coming home, and he's coming all the way to the final. My third certain qualifier, we may as well discuss it straight off the bat, is Israel. Now, there's no doubt about it, this is quite a divisive entry this year for many reasons, and look, I'm not about to discuss those on this channel, but what we can discuss is the way that it's going to impact their likelihood of qualifying. And I think it's important to remember that you can't vote against a song. So whilst there may be many detractors of Israel at this present moment because of the current climate, there are also going to be many people who are wanting to pick them up and feel absolutely compelled to vote for them. This is before even considering what the song sounds like. But the song is also quite a Eurovision friendly song. I think casuals at home who have no allegiance on either side will find this quite likeable. It's very run-of-the-mill Eurovision. So yeah, where this song finishes is unpredictable, but I would be surprised if we didn't see it in the final, and it definitely is one that I'm considering as 100% likely to qualify. The fourth song that I have as a certain qualifier is Norway. Now, I have spoken throughout this Eurovision season that I do think this song could be divisive, so it seems strange for me to say this is a definite qualifier because divisive lends itself to the idea of being 50-50. As I did mention in my analysis video for semi-final 2, I think this being second to last in the running order lends this a hand that it just cannot be forgotten about. It quite literally shouts for your attention. We've never seen anything like All the Ham at Eurovision before, and I don't think that's because it's so out of the box that it's not votable for. I think there are doubts about the televote, and it wouldn't surprise me if this underperformed in the final. You cannot deny Gunhild's vocals. You cannot deny this song is a moment. You cannot deny this song really stands out. And I think that's very important. We've got a lot of female up-tempos in this, quite a few comedy moments, but I think this really just takes you in a serious manner, but not in a boring ballad serious manner. Regardless of where they finish in the final, I really do think they will be there. My fifth certain qualifier is one that people have been doubting recently, but there are no doubts in my mind we will be seeing Austria in the final of Eurovision 2024. Now, people have been pointing me to pre-parties and saying that the vocals aren't super strong there. They think that the song might be a bit throwaway, but honestly, I think this is televote bait, which is perfect for the semi-finals. I honestly don't think a song like this relies on having perfect vocals anyway. I imagine there'll be quite a heavy amount of backing vocal on this too, which will assist Kaleen. But at the end of the day, this is one of those songs that is going to get the crowd roaring, is going to get the people watching at home going, oh, this is what we watch Eurovision for, and it really appeals to those people who are tuning in for the first time. I think we have to remember that sometimes we get caught up in a bit of a bubble as Eurovision fans, and you can watch these pre-parties and you can rewatch the videos and really focus on this and that and this and that, but a huge chunk of the voting public are people who have never ever watched this before. And this is such an instant entry. It's a song that literally commands, we are going to dance together. I'm going to make sure you have a good time. And I think that is exactly what she is going to do on this stage. I have seen the pre-parties, and what I have got from that is that she's actually a very capable performer. Yes, I think it will make it through with flying colours. It really makes you want to pick up the phone and vote. And I think we will be raving in the Eurovision final, that's for sure. My sixth certain qualifier is Armenia. Now, I said when I reacted to this for the first time that this song is made for a live moment, and I absolutely stand by that. I think this is one of those songs that's going to pick up a massive wave of support going into the final. I think the odds for this song are going to be severely cut when we get to the final. Right now, I think it's been quite underrated. I'm just going to check where they are in the odds. This is it. Currently 17th. That to me seems quite low. I think this could be a surprise top 10 on the final night. I think it's one of those songs that really invites you into a country's culture. I think it's one that will get the audience screaming back at them during that sort of call out moment, that call and response moment. And I think it just creates this real feel good, joyful vibe that cannot be ignored. You'll feel it through the screen, you'll feel it in the arena. And I just don't see any way that this feel good moment is going to get left behind. It's exactly what Eurovision is about in all the best ways. It's just too full of joy for people to pass it by. And the very final song that I've decided is a certain qualifier is Greece. There's no doubt about it in my mind. This is in my top 3 of the year. I absolutely adore this song. There is a part of my brain that says, is this song on quite early for a song that could be divisive? But I just think the song is so strong, and maybe that is me just being biased or just living in my own world. But again, when I think back to my first reaction of it, it was so immediate, it created an immediate reaction, and that is what Eurovision is all about. It's the first song in the semi-final that I can imagine feeling completely professional, because it follows Malta and Albania, 2 songs that I don't think are definite qualifiers and I think could feel a bit shaky, but I just have full confidence in Marina Satti as a performer, that she's going to be confident, she's going to be bold, she's going to be sexy, she's going to be fresh, she's going to be current, all of the things that Eurovision should be, and I really just see this going from strength to strength. Greece tend to do quite well anyway. Obviously last year was a bit of a blip, but I do think in general they do tend to do quite well at Eurovision, and with a song this strong, I think that is only going to help that matter. And I really hope this is top 10 at the final, but hey, we're going on a tangent now as usual. So those are my 7 certain qualifiers. Now I'm going to discuss the 3 songs that are going to complete my top 10 of who I think is making it. But these songs I'm not as certain about. I maybe have a couple of question marks, a few doubts. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't make it. I nearly made it 8 certain qualifiers, but there is one song that I've been a little bit shaky of in the past few days, but I do still think it'll qualify, and that is Belgium. That's Mustii's Before the Party's Over. Now, you're going to think I'm hypocritical here because I've just been speaking about how Austria's pre-party performance didn't concern me in the slightest. but Belgium's pre-party performances have concerned me. And I think that comes down to the type of song that it is. I'm not going to We Will Rave expecting a flawless vocal. The point of that song is to make you want to dance. Whereas before the party's over, the reason why it impressed me so much on first listen is because I was like, wow, this is going to be such a wow moment if he can nail it. And I think the caveat of if he can nail it is super important. And what we're seeing from a pre-party is that currently Mustii isn't nailing it. And I think some of the drama of this could be lost. So I'm just a little bit worried at the moment that Mustii himself is not going to be able to bring all of the goods to bring this song to life. Because there is no doubt about it, this song is set up for that last minute to be an absolute showstopper at the highest variety, but it does need to have a commanding performer behind it for it to be that showstopper. The vocals need to be absolutely on it. The staging needs to be so dramatic. It needs to feel like Bond levels. We're talking Rise Like a Phoenix type staging where the drama and the intensity and the fire is just palpable. You can feel it through the screen. All of that needs to happen now, and the fact that I'm having to apply this needs to happen, if this doesn't happen, means there are a few doubts in my mind, or a few question marks. I still do think we will see Belgium in the final. I feel like they will be able to pull it together, and I think this is just one of those cases of the fans just getting caught up in pre-party nerves, whereas, as I remind you, most of the people voting on this won't even know that a pre-party exists. They don't even know what a pre-party is. This semi-final is strange in the sense that in the first semi-final, I had only like 7 songs that I was confident of, and then the rest I was like, oh, this, I'm not sure. In this semi-final, I could think of a reason why nearly every single song could make it. And I find it really surprising that the odds this year have a real definite top 10, because I don't think that's the case at all. However, the 9th song that I think is going to qualify is Georgia. Now, if you'd have asked me about 3 weeks ago if I think this song would qualify, I had this real gut feeling in my stomach that it was going to roll in at 11th or 12th, and I was going to be absolutely gutted for Georgia for a second year in a row. However, having watched her performances at the pre-parties, I think this has a potential to upset some of your female faves, because Nutsa, oh my god, she's got the vocals, she's got the performance ability, she's got the attack, and she makes this song feel like an absolute beast. And I just think Nutsa is exactly the right person behind this track to just elevate it to a whole new level. The song is a little bit messy in places. That's been my one criticism of it this whole time. I feel like structurally it's a little bit all over the place. However, when you see the way that Nutsa absolutely throws everything into the performance of this, it's so impressive. And I think this now, if they just bring all of that fire, all of that energy to this performance, I really see no way that the audience aren't going to be absolutely wowed by this. That being said, I won't be surprised if it doesn't make it. There are a lot of female-led songs in this semi-final, a lot of which I do think will qualify. I do think this has a tough running order spot where there are a lot of favourites coming after it, but I worry it could be buried. Georgia deserves to be in the final with this. Nutsa deserves to be in the final with this. And I know that being deserving means nothing, but I mean, God, she's throwing absolutely everything at it. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be enough. So rooting for you, Georgia, and I really do think we'll be seeing you in the final this year. Cross my fingers, crossing my toes, crossing my nuts. Everything's crossed. This now takes me to the final qualifier of the year, and I have gone back and forth on this so much. But one thing that I think is that semi-final 2 is quite a zany semi-final. I think a lot of the songs that I predicted would qualify are a bit left of field. We've got Europapa, which is quite crazy. We've got The Code, which is structurally a very unusual song. We've got Zari, we've got Jako, we've got All the Hand. There are so many unusual songs that are screaming for the public vote because of how different and how much they shout at you, that it makes me think that something that is just simply a great pop song could make it through. And that's the reason why The 10th qualifier that I've gone for is Denmark. Now, this may be a controversial choice. I know plenty won't agree with it, but as I say, this song is just such a straight up, simple pop song performed really well. And I think if this was being sent by the likes of Sweden, we would be talking about this going through. So why not Denmark? I think this is just a very likeable song. Saba's a very likeable person. And I think this semi-final might just need a safe pair of hands when there's so much crazy, unusual stuff all around it. Will some of the safer moments stand now because they're actually a rarity in this semi-final? I think that's what you have to consider. And I think of the safer moments, which I would say are Denmark, Latvia and Czechia, I think this is the most likely to qualify. I think Saba is a really great performer, the vocals are on point, and I think this is the sort of thing I could imagine hearing on Radio 1 and Radio 2. And I think that is what made me pick Alika last year, and it ended up coming 10th in its semi-final. And it was just that typical kind of radio-friendly song that doesn't pick up loads of votes, but it trickles its way to enough that it scrapes through. And I think that Saba might do the same this year. I can see her coming 10th in the semi-final and then doing quite well with the jury in the final to actually end up with a respectable placing. I think it's just going to do enough, and I think one of our crazies, aka Estonia, might just be in a field of too many surprising entries this year and it doesn't stand out enough, and something safe like this will take its spot. So I'm going for Denmark as my 10th qualifier. Will I be read for that opinion? Probably. So those are my 10 qualifiers. As usual, am I confident about them? No. Am I ever? No. Do I always start myself? Yes. But let's recap. These are the 10 songs that I think are going to make it from semi-final 2. We have Switzerland, we have Netherlands, we have Israel, we have Norway, we have Austria, we have Armenia, we have Greece, we've got Belgium, Georgia, and then last but not least, we have Denmark. So let's just briefly discuss the 6 songs that I don't think will qualify, starting with the songs that I think are just borderline non-qualifiers, and then moving to the songs that I think are less likely. Let's start with Estonia, because they are currently predicted to qualify. They are 9th favourite to qualify from the semi-final. I pretty much described already why I think this might not make it. Would I be surprised if it did make it? No. Would I be surprised if this ended up top 10 in the final? No. I think there's every possibility this could pull a Trenula till Moldova 2022 moment where the crowd really get behind it. So I think I could be very wrong, but I also think there's every possibility that people just assume that out there crazier entries are always going to make it with the televote, and that just doesn't happen. And I think that could be the case here. As I've said, this is a semi-final full of a lot of zanier songs that are left of field to what you expect from Eurovision, and this is just another one of them. And I think it dilutes some of the shock value, but by the time we get to this, we're at song 13, and we've already had a few sort of shocking fan favourite moments, and then after it you've got a song like Europapa, which is going to close the show, and I think that's going to steal a lot of this song's votes. And I feel like this song might just have a few too many parts that in a sea of left field entries, it just feels like the least votable for. The next song I have as a non-qualifier, which I'm very on the fence about, is Albania. Now, if I was talking solely on the song, I don't think this song is strong enough this year, as much as I do really like Besa. But I think what has been pointed out to me, and what I have noticed myself, is that diaspora could be very much on Albania's side in this semi-final. The question is, will that be enough? The countries voting in this semi-final, you've got the likes of Italy, you've got Spain, you've got Switzerland, Belgium, Greece. These are countries that typically give Albania quite healthy amounts, and I think they still will this year. As I say, I don't think the song commands a vote as much as the like of Duya last year. I don't think it's going to wind up being enough, but if they are announced, I think it's going to be one of those moments where I turn around to my boyfriend and I go, I told you so, I knew this was going to happen, because in my brain I kind of still feel like it is going to happen, but I feel like I can't bring myself to solely predict it because I just don't think the song is strong enough. But I think that it might need a few more trickle points from other countries that I just don't know if diaspora will be quite enough to push it over the line. I think I can see this finishing 11th actually in the end, so it could be close for this song, but at the end of the day I just don't think the song is strong enough in a semi-final that I actually think is strong. Next song I think could potentially make it, and I just can't bring myself to rule it out, is Malta. Now, this song is pretty much like the least favourite to win. I'm pretty sure it's bottom of the odds. So some of you may be saying, why do you think this stands a chance? And I actually just think with this opening the show, I think she's going to throw everything at this. I mean, the absolute kitchen sink. We saw in that national final, as much as many of us have compared this to slow-mo, we've seen that there is nothing that Sarah Benici was not willing to throw at that stage. She had the trickery, the choreography, she was just doing the outfits. There is no doubt that Sarah is hungry for this, and I think that she will have the money behind her to try and make this a banger of a stage show. And there is just something in my waters that says this could be a shock. We are all going off our cumulative opinions from what we've seen so far, but will this actually be impressive for someone watching this for the first time? It would be foolish of me to call this a qualifier, but there is something in my brain that just can't rule it out, just because I think Sarah is going to pull out all the stops to try and make it happen. So, you heard it here first, I'm not ruling this out, but yeah, still a non-qualifier for me. Now we're moving on to the 3 songs that I just don't see making it at all, and I would be very surprised to make it. We're going to start with Latvia. I think this is a shame, and I think this song would stand a chance in a jury and televote 50-50 split, but I just don't see a stripped back ballad like this, which has just not captured the Eurovision fandom at all. I can't see it winning over enough people to actually get enough votes in this semi either. I really do want to see Latvia qualify. It's been ages since they've qualified, 2016 being the last time, and I think as a fandom, we are all rooting for it to happen, but I'd be lying if I think this is the song to make it happen. It just doesn't rouse enough excitement, and I think this semi-final has a lot of excitement in it. I think Don's is a really great guy, and this song is a good song, but good just isn't going to cut the mustard at the end of the day. Then we've got Czechia with Pedestal. I have found this song to be a massive grower. I think it's severely underrated, but I do think it's going to remain underrated. I don't see this having enough behind it, and I don't know if Jako is enough of an accomplished performer that in a sea of solo females that we've got in this semi-final, and there are a lot, I think their performance abilities are just going to leave this feeling a little bit lacking in the end. I don't think it's going to do that badly. I don't think any song in this semi-final is going to get like 0 points. I do see this getting points, but much like Malta, Czechia are also a country that don't always have that guaranteed built-in public support. They don't have a lot of diaspora, so when a song like this already isn't popular, they don't have guaranteed points to prop them up, and it's just a far cry. It's a huge imagination for me to picture this making it. I'm really rooting for Jako to surprise us, deliver some great vocals in that semi-final, and we can all walk away going, we treated this song poorly, because I think as a fandom we have. Then we're going to end with San Marino, Megara's 11-11. Now I know quite a few people think this could be a shock qualifier. We know that rock quite often does well with the televote, so it could do in this case too. But I think there are too many things going against this. I think it will get votes from Italy, I think it will get votes from Spain, but I struggle to see where other high points are going to come from this. I think that it lacks a lot of a hook. Again, I struggle to actually remember this song when it's not playing, especially it being in Spanish but representing San Marino. I think it just winds up feeling like a confusing entry with too many layers, and I think there's songs that just grab your attention in this semi-final so much easier. That again, I mentioned this in the first semi-final, if this is going to be people's favourite or second favourite, potentially not. I can see it being in plenty of people's top 10s, but most people don't vote for 10 songs, and I just don't see this commanding enough people's, oh, we need to pick up the phone and vote for this. I just don't see that happening, so I don't see San Marino making it. But I definitely think there's a case for every single song in this semi-final. Unlike the first semi-final where I'm pretty much ruling Moldova and Iceland out, I think there is a reason any of these 6 songs could make it. So there we go, that is semi-final 2. That's what I had to say, but what do you think? I'm always interested to hear your opinions down below. So if you think that I've missed anything out, any glaring omissions, I'd love to hear it. Give this video a like if you enjoyed what you saw, and hit that bell if you want notifications every time I upload a video. But they are the semi-finals predicted for me. But right now, we are so close to Malmö that I could not be more excited. So I'm just going to leave you to enjoy all of the Eurovision content that we're going to get over the next few weeks. Thank you for watching me, and thank you for supporting me through this Eurovision season. It has been incredible. But for now, good night.